West African folktales are like precious jewels. Each story is a journey into a world filled with magic, wisdom, and wonder. These tales have been passed down for generations. Grandparents tell them to their grandchildren. This keeps the stories alive. Imagine sitting around a flickering fire. The air is filled with anticipation. You hear the storyteller's voice. It rises and falls with the rhythm of the drums. Each word weaves a spell. The story transports you to a different time and place. These folktales are more than just entertainment. They teach important life lessons about love, loss, bravery, and the importance of community. Each story holds a mirror to the human experience, reflecting our hopes, fears, and the challenges we face. One such tale, The Girl Who Married a Ghost, has captivated listeners for centuries. It's a story about love, loss, and the courage to face the unknown. It reminds us that things are not always what they seem. Are you ready to hear the tale? In a small village nestled at the edge of a sprawling forest, there lived a beautiful young woman named Abeni. She was known for her kindness, her grace, and her enchanting singing voice, which could make even the birds in the trees fall silent in admiration. Abeni was admired by many young men in the village. They sought her hand in marriage. However, Abeni longed for a love that ran deeper than mere appearances. She dreamed of a love that would ignite her soul and stand the test of time. One day, tragedy struck the village. A sudden and devastating illness swept through the community. Many succumbed to the illness, including Abeni's parents. Grief-stricken and alone, Abeni found herself at a crossroads. Her once vibrant spirit dimmed, shrouded in sorrow. She longed for solace, for someone to share her burdens and mend her broken heart. Little did she know that fate had a surprising plan in store for her, a plan that would intertwine her destiny with the spirit world. One evening, as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the village, Abeni wandered through the forest. She sought solace in the familiar sights and sounds of nature. As she walked, she noticed a figure standing by the riverbank. It was a man, tall and handsome, with piercing eyes and a mysterious aura. He seemed to radiate an otherworldly charm that both intrigued and unsettled Abeni. Gathering her courage, Abeni approached the stranger. He introduced himself as Kojo. His voice was as smooth as silk, and his words flowed effortlessly. They talked for hours. It was as if they had known each other for a lifetime. Kojo shared tales of distant lands and extraordinary adventures, captivating Abeni's imagination. He listened intently as she poured out her heart, offering words of comfort and understanding that soothed her wounded spirit. As the moon replaced the sun, Abeni found herself drawn to Kojo's charisma and enigmatic presence. As days turned into weeks, Abeni and Kojo's bond grew stronger. They met every evening by the riverbank. Each encounter deepened Abeni's affection for the mysterious stranger. He was everything her previous suitors were not: kind, compassionate, and a captive audience to her every word. However, a part of Abeni couldn't ignore the strange feeling that lingered in Kojo's presence. There was something different about him. He seemed to almost shimmer under the moonlight. One starlit night, Kojo took Abeni's hand and gazed into her eyes with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. He professed his love for her, declaring that he had never met a woman as beautiful, kind, and intelligent as she. Overwhelmed by her emotions and Kojo's undeniable charm, Abeni agreed to marry him. They decided to hold the wedding ceremony the very next day. Deep down, Abeni felt a sense of unease, a whisper of doubt that she couldn't quite place. However, she dismissed it as pre-wedding jitters. The next morning, excitement filled the air as villagers gathered to celebrate Abeni's wedding day. Section 5. The Spirit World Unveiled. The wedding ceremony commenced as the sun reached its zenith. The air vibrated with the rhythmic beat of drums. Villagers danced with joy, celebrating the union of Abeni and the mysterious Kojo. Abeni, adorned in vibrant garments and shimmering beads, smiled radiantly. She tried to ignore the persistent unease that gnawed at the edges of her happiness. As Kojo, looking as handsome as ever, stepped forward to take Abeni's hand, a hush fell over the crowd. It was at that moment that an elderly woman, the village's oldest and wisest member, stepped forward. Her eyes, filled with concern, fixed on Kojo. "Wait!" she cried. "Can you not see? He is not one of us. He is a spirit, a being from the other side." The crowd gasped. Abeni froze, her heart pounding in her chest. Kojo looked startled, his eyes darting around nervously. The festive atmosphere evaporated, replaced by a blanket of fear and uncertainty. "It's true," Kojo admitted, his voice trembling slightly. "I am a spirit, bound to this world." Section 6. Whispers and Warnings. Confusion and fear rippled through the crowd. The villagers had heard whispers and legends of spirits who walked among humans. They were stories passed down through generations, cautionary tales spoken in hushed tones around flickering fires. These stories often spoke of spirits who lured unsuspecting humans into the spirit world, never to be seen again. The old woman, her voice trembling with age but firm with conviction, continued to speak. She revealed that Kojo was indeed a spirit, trapped between worlds. He could only break free from his ethereal chains if a human willingly agreed to marry him, binding their fates together. "Abini, my child," the old woman pleaded, her wrinkled face etched with worry. "You must reconsider. A union with a spirit is fraught with danger and uncertainty. It is a path filled with shadows and whispers, a path from which you may never return." Abini's mind raced. She couldn't deny the love she felt for Kojo. However, the revelation of his true nature filled her with trepidation. Could she really spend her life with someone who existed between worlds? Section 7. The Weight of Secrets. The villagers, torn between sympathy for Abini and fear of the supernatural, began to murmur amongst themselves. Some urged Abini to heed the old woman's warning, to break off the union before it was too late. Others, captivated by Kojo's charm and the sincerity in his eyes, argued that love could conquer even the most extraordinary obstacles. Standing amidst the chaos, Abini felt torn. She looked at Kojo, his usually confident demeanor replaced with vulnerability. He looked back at her, his eyes pleading for understanding. In that moment, Abini made a decision. "I love Kojo," Abini declared, her voice trembling but resolute. "I know there will be challenges. I know there will be unknowns, but I am willing to face them with him by my side." And so, despite the warnings and the fear that hung heavy in the air, Abini and Kojo were married. Life with Kojo was unlike anything Abini could have imagined. He was loving and attentive, always there to comfort her. However, as time passed, Abini realized her life with Kojo came at a price. She was no longer fully part of the human world. One day, unable to bear the weight of secrecy, Abini confronted Kojo. Abini's heart sank. She had feared as much. Kojo was keeping secrets, secrets that threatened to shatter the life they had built together. Kojo revealed that he had been a powerful warrior in his human life. He had been betrayed by his own brother, who coveted his status and power. Left for dead on the battlefield, Kojo's spirit vowed revenge. He was trapped between worlds, consumed by anger and bitterness. "I cannot find peace, Abini," he confessed, his voice filled with anguish. "Not until justice is served. But my brother is still alive, and seeking him out could put you in harm's way." Abini was torn. She loved Kojo, but she couldn't ignore the pain and anger that festered within him. She knew that she couldn't live a lie, pretending that everything was all right. "We will face this together," Abini declared, taking Kojo's hand in hers. "We will find a way to break the chains that bind you, to find peace for both our hearts." Determined to help Kojo find peace, Abini sought the counsel of the village's oldest and wisest members. She learned that in order to break the curse that bound Kojo's spirit, they would need to perform a sacred ritual. This ritual involved returning to the site of Kojo's betrayal, confronting his past, and seeking forgiveness for the anger and resentment that had kept him tethered to the physical world. The journey was perilous. Abini and Kojo faced many dangers, both physical and spiritual. However, Abini never wavered in her resolve. She knew that the stakes were high, not just for Kojo's freedom, but for the future of their love. Finally, they reached the site of Kojo's betrayal. It was a desolate battlefield, haunted by the memories of those who had fallen. The air crackled with unseen energy, a tangible reminder of the spiritual forces at play. Standing on that hallowed ground, Kojo was forced to confront the pain and anger that had haunted him for so long. He had a choice to make: to cling to the bitterness of the past or to choose forgiveness and find peace. Abini stood by Kojo's side, her love for him an unbreakable bond amidst the turmoil. She reminded him of the good in his heart and the love they shared. With Abini's support, Kojo found the strength to forgive his brother. He realized that clinging to anger had only caused him more pain. As he released the bitterness, a sense of peace washed over him. The chains that had bound his spirit shattered. Kojo was finally free. As a spirit who had found peace, he could no longer remain in the physical world. With tears in their eyes, Kojo and Abini shared one last embrace. As Kojo's spirit faded into the ethereal glow, Abini was left with a profound sense of gratitude.